towards that bottom side. Tarzan clearing out a ward here, will just decoy over the wall. And it looks like with the pressure that they have in bot and in mid, anyone's Legend are going to look for the first neutral of the game.
With the sheer amount of pressure that's happening on the bot lane, and with Shanks getting that solo kill, it's just, AL are a little too strong right now. And CFO, as we mentioned earlier, just need a bit of a timeout, need a bit of a pause to get their footing back in before they really look for a fight. Shanks, though, he's not done.
Honku having the Valkyrie means that he can get to safety, but it's a tool used that allows Tarzan just a little bit more safety around the Drake. Second time in 2 games, we've seen AL get the first Dragon of the game. In game 1, though, CFO were able to strike back pretty effectively by getting the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Taunt coming out from Flandre is Galio such a common matchup into the Rumble now, often used just to negate his laning phase and negate the power that he can have in pushing in that top lane.
I was kind of expecting a swap to come out a little bit earlier from CFO, but I guess because Driver's doing so well in terms of the 1v1 matchup, they still wanted to give him that opportunity to be a carry in the mid game. The Rumble, of course, going to spike very hard once you get that first item finished off.
That's the worst feeling as a top laner, though. When your bot lane gives 2 kills over to the enemy AD carry in the early game, and then they're like, hey man, any chance we can swap lanes? I'd love to go top for grubs. It's like, no, I don't want to deal into the guy that
I'm
has...
good up here.
And he is going to teleport back up to top. Opening up through mid, there were Doggo and Kaiwing. So it looks like it might be a grubs fight with the expectation that Honku teleports down towards that bot side as the waves go in later.
Doggo sacrificed a lot there. TP now going to come through from Flandre. The grubs started off. It's hard for Tarzan, though. He's quite far away.
Flandre goes in with the Justice Punch, doesn't land the taunt. Kyle has the Pop Blossom level 6 and the Flash. Honku's going to try and chunk him out with a Gatling gun. Smite already used by Junja. Will be back up in a couple of seconds' time. Tarzan could just step in here and steal away one of these grubs, but he's looking for a flank of his own. Junja gets the second Smite off. I wonder if CFO will just disengage. Doggo culled. Down to 300 HP. CFO should retreat from this. The Realm Warp coming out as well. We'll bring Tarzan onto the backline. There's the Cyclone Pop Blossom. And it's a Venn diagram of death here for CFO. AL find 2 as they sweep away the LCP.
Quick collapse from AL as they find a fight in CFO's jungle. The grubs, though, 2 were secured by CFO. So at least some good news as their camps are starting to fall on the top side. Tarzan, is he going to turn his attention to that last grub? Looks like he's not that interested in it, to be honest. But a nice fight from AL. That's the idea behind the composition, right? Tarzan finds an angle in. And this is what I mean by the follow-up. Whether it's Kyle to start the fight or Tarzan doesn't really matter. And it was something you were saying a lot in the draft. The Rise ultimate just makes it so easy. It's a delivery system. And this package arrived right on time. The Galio ultimate, quick to follow. The knockup comes through, the follow-up is there. And the Wombo combo is clean. Forces the flash out from Junja. He doesn't quite get over the wall. And it's 2 kills secured for AL.
And the great thing for AL about fighting in narrow points like that is there's only so many ways you can try and escape. So if Kyle comes from one flank and Tarzan comes from the other, it's really hard for CFO to actually disengage the fight effectively. We saw them almost getting out. But as soon as the Pop Blossom comes across the top of it, you're pretty much done for. 2,000 gold lead or thereabouts now for AL. You can see most damage in that last fight done by Kyle.
Supports are very balanced.
It's early game, man. It's all base numbers, right?
Yeah,
He's got a Hexagoldinator now, though, if he wants
keep
to...
coping, Medic. It's all good.
I mean, I don't play support anymore. I'm a Phil main.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Learning the power of the AD carry role.
I feel like some people have learned some very valuable lessons about the AD carry role recently.
What do you mean tank builds don't work, Benny?
Well, Dragon spawning in about 1:30 seconds. And I imagine that AL will want that.
Yeah.
As they usually want every objective on the map.
It's going to be really interesting to see how CFO bounce back from this, because in game 1 they were able to get some of these early neutrals, they were able to get some of the stuff off the map. Here AL are just controlling everything and have a large chunk of change in their back pockets.
I mean, Honku just feels so weak right now. You know, a Tia, a Tunneler, a Ruby Crystal, like, you can't win out on the trades against Shanks anymore. You lost your flash again. And the tower helping make the trade even, but with this constant pressure on side, it means that AL will always have access to the river first. Shanks is just going to keep the pressure up. Hope with the Essence Reaver already completed against Doggo as well. CFO just can't really afford to fight right now. And so every fight that they get baited into means that AL just get to accelerate the game even more than they already have. A 2K lead at 12 minutes in is a very difficult spot for CFO to be in. Of course, coming into this series, it was always going to be an uphill battle against the LPL first seed. But I definitely wasn't expecting this level of dominance here in Game 2. But at the same time, how can you predict a level 1 fight to go the way that it does?
That's the thing. We've all been in solo queue games where level 1 just decides everything. Someone gets a massive lead, and currently that's Shanks and Hope. Shanks 750 gold ahead. Shanks is 700, Hope is 750. Tarzan's even almost 800 ahead himself, has that Triforce already complete, and his jungle pet is 6 stacks closer to finishing than we see for Ginger, which just means his smite is more likely to be up for these big objectives, especially around the Rift Herald, if he can manage to get there before Ginger actually fully upgrades his pet. But with the red buff up, Ginger should be able to get there within the next couple of minutes or so. He's got the Krugs as well. CFO posturing around the Drake. I don't think it's the best idea. Hook is going to hit onto Kyle.
It's too slow.
There.
Not there.
Ginger going in with the smite. It's secured by Tarzan. Hero's Entrance coming out as well. Culling onto Hongq. Realm Warp there for the follow-up. Kyle trying to get in with the Pop Blossom. Ginger there first. Target up towards the top side. Hongq will fall first. Kaiwing next as Hope flashes forward for the kill. Ginger follows suit. It's a massacre. AL pick up 3 more.
CFO approached an area of the map that they were not allowed to approach. This was a no-fly zone, and AL quickly pick up 3 kills. CFO should have prioritized looking for a cross map, maybe getting some plates elsewhere on the map, but instead, they're just spectators. Ginger thinks that he can get a steal by coming in from over the wall. Notice that Flandre has already rotated down into the mid lane. Has the ulti available. Shanks with the ulti as well. Flandre tries to join in on the portal, can't quite get in range. And while the ultimate is pretty good from Ginger, he gets locked down by Kyle. Tarzan's able to pick up the kill onto Ginger. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, 2 fall as well. AL picking up 3 kills, second dragon of the game. It's a 4K gold lead, and Game 2 feels near but almost over.
The only speck of blue down towards the bottom is Driver, who has about a 600 gold lead. Most of that because Flandre wasn't there for the last couple of minutes. He was down towards that dragon side. Shanks at this MSI having an absolute whale of a time, especially in this game on this rise. Involved in 7 of the team's 8 kills, 14 minutes in, has a huge gold lead as well. And for CFO, you're really looking at, like, can we find a pick? Can we play around a pocket of vision? They do have some vision up towards this top side with the Rift Herald there. But as you can see, Ginger's still yet to complete that jungle pet.
I know that LPL fans have been really enthusiastic about showcasing Shanks on the international stage, and I do hope his performance will garner him more attention, more fans. I mean, his series versus Chovy was already incredibly impressive. The fact that he's continuing that level of dominance here. Game 1, he was a little bit quiet, but in so many of those fights, he was kind of the quiet carry. Like, you highlighted a lot, the individual gold lead that he was able to build. And this game, just completely singling Hongq out of the game, solo killing him with his lack of flash. He's having a fantastic performance, and he's going to continue to do so, I expect, throughout this series. Kind of take stock of the situation, and it's Rift Herald on the map. And the problem for CFO is, even though they have that first item completed, I don't know if they actually feel strong enough to go for a fight. Might be their last opportunity, because I guess you could argue that in terms of... Oh, never mind. That's the 4-way quick plate's finished. Or Hope. I was about to say, in terms of itemization, they're not too far apart, and then the second item gets finished for the Lucian, and you're like, okay, you're a little bit behind now.
Just a smidge, Eddie, just a smidge. At the moment, though, Tarzan is on the bottom side of the map, shadowing Shanks.
Is there a play here?
I mean, it's always possible. Tarzan will clear out the vision. Shanks decides against the play, as you have to feel Rift Herald probably the key objective. AL could play for first tower as well for the feats of strength. They've managed to chunk these out quite a bit, looking down to about half HP, at least in this mid lane for now. Just let the Wukong clear through his entire jungle and then work your way up towards the top side. TP coming out from Shanks as he's going to match Hongq once again. You can see a little bit of vision invested to get sight on CFO's blue side jungle. Kaiwing is stepping in here. There's a small window where Hope and Kyle are alone, but you have to be careful of the hero's entrance, the Realm Warp, and that Cyclone. Tarzan joins up with his bot lane to try and control this river. Flandre there in the mid lane to push out the wave. Shanks has gone missing on the map, and because of that, CFO immediately back away. They cede control of this river, and AL should be able to get their third neutral objective.
I think CFO might still try and contest this, Medic.
Okay, the killer instinct from Doggo. He's a long way away right now, can jump in. Ginger trying to posture around it as Kyle locks him up. Kyle down to half HP, does still have that Pop Blossom Taunt coming out. It's going to land, but only onto the Nautilus. There's a culling follow-up, Death Charge, Pop Blossom! And Nautilus is the one who just goes pop. Hero's Entrance comes in for the Magic Shield on Kyle. Cyclone for the chase on Ginger. Shanks is going to Realm Warp behind them, and Ginger taunted up and taken out of the fight. They'll get one in response. Tarzan has fallen, but the objective and the win in the fight goes over to AL once again.
CFO are desperate to get something back, but I feel like this is not the way you do it. They just approach the objective, not respecting the amount of control that AL have. And at the very least, they do get a shutdown onto Tarzan. But 2 kills go the way of AL, and Kaiwing, he knows that they don't have control. He walks up towards the brush anyway, working with Ginger, thinking they can, at the very least, maybe get some space back. But look at the lockdown that comes through. Now, admittedly, a lot was used onto Kaiwing, which means they don't really have that many tools to chase after. Doggo commits the ulti. The fight then becomes split as AL turn their attention to the top side of the fight. They get the kill onto Ginger, and they decide not to chase anymore as Honkyu trades one back onto Tarzan.
But AL love when the fight is split because they have so many tools to get to the right side of the skirmish. Yeah. The Hero's Entrance, the Realm Warp, we saw it there. They have the ability, as soon as CFO split up into 2 separate groups, they can just jump on whichever group they find more advantageous. AL will now jump onto their third dragon of the game, Ocean Soul Point, in their sights. CFO could look for the fight again, but they don't have the ultimates really for it. Might just be Ginger riding through the walls to try and get the steal. Doesn't even go for it. AL, 1 Drake away from Soul, 18.5 minutes in.
This is the thing, CFO is a very objective-driven team. Typically, they like to try and gain that space, look for fights around these neutrals. But I feel like in this window, they should be trying to cross-map. That top tower should be easy pickings. At the very least, it would be some gold back. Maybe funnel it into Honkyu or Doggo to put them in a position where maybe if you can get a good fight, they would have enough itemization to swing the fight in their favor. But instead, they're just acting as spectators. They're just watching as AL secures another objective. They put themselves on Soul Point, as you highlighted. Now, Artican spawns in a minute's time. Always a scary objective to start off. We saw how tense the last few fights were in the previous game. Oh, they're looking for a play.
Oh, the flash onto Hope as they dash into him. The equalizer not enough to kill him. And the Pop Blossom will turn it around. The Impale landed on a couple as Kyle is forced away. AL able to survive through the burst of CFO.
Really nice idea. Very well executed. Just not quite enough damage.
Yep.
They're just too far behind in terms of the gold. They don't have the items needed to secure a kill. Hope is able to flash away to safety. They did get both of his summoner spells out, but they had to commit a lot to get that.
Get the flash out of Tarzan as well as he came to the aid of his teammate. CFO have shown, like, they know how to pull the trigger, but as you say, when you're 5k in the hole this early on in the game, it's really tricky to have enough damage, especially with Doggo only being at 1 item right now. Hope on his way to his 3rd with another pickaxe in his inventory. A couple of pings coming out on the Artican. I think it's more for Kaiwing just to get some vision around there if he can.
4.5k the gold lead. AL turn their attention towards that bot out of tower. It is very low. They're doing this the slow and controlled approach. Mid control into bot side, vision control, jungle support working together, Shank split pushing. Again, we said it in game 1, we're seeing it again in game 2. They smother you with their pressure. And they do it so elegantly as well because the strategy should be to, like, you kind of commit on one side of the map in response. But the problem is, AL have such a huge gold lead that even if you do, like, can you kill Shanks? Like, he has flash, he has ults, and you'd invest all these resources, you try and get something on the top side, and now you have no defense on the bot side. At the very least, Honkyu acting as good wave clear right now, Ginger trying to defend.
TP to mid from Shanks, and it looks like AL want to start up this Artican, or at least pull CFO into a tricky situation. TP comes out as well from Drivers. He wants to join the fight. Has the equalizer available. All ults up for either side. Shanks, though, can just play around that mid-tier 2. Currently hovering in that fog of war. Does have the Realm Warp. Honkyu's going to answer the wave in mid as the culling comes down and chunks out Driver. A third of his HP gone. Just chip damage more than anything else. Hope walks back into the Artican, man.
All good, all good. Just a love tap. Hope gonna stay bot, try and catch this wave. Flandre now takes up residence on the top side of the map, has the TP available.
Yeah, the thing is now Honku has to answer that top wave, right? Because the TP has been used by Driver on the Rumble. So Honku into the Galio. It's kind of what we've seen over the last couple of minutes. CFO will use their short window while AL have backed away to get a tiny bit of vision for themselves. Kaiwing looking to see perhaps if a pick is possible onto Shanks, but Shanks very respectfully just standing all the way back at the tier 1. Doesn't need to step forward because all they're doing is waiting for Flandre to have that wave pushed in. As soon as they see Honku showing up, that's their signal to step a little bit further forward.
Keeping Miles in the minimap once again. Flandre rotating down towards the mid wave. It's going to get that mid control. CFO in a good position for a pick if they can catch Shanks. I love this idea from CFO. Set these traps. It's the best situation that you can go for when you're this far down in gold. Hell, yet to actually start this objective off.
Driver showing up. He's the bait. The trap is laid.
He's not falling for it, though.
Well, they don't have to force anything onto Driver. They're already so far ahead that Driver is purely a cherry on the top of the cake. Artican is the main objective, and they're just waiting this out.
CFO spent a lot of time here, though. Admittedly, AL haven't gotten a huge amount for it. They've just been clearing out waves and a lot of damage done onto Flandre.
The problem for CFO is that sequence, the bait bush, didn't work, and now Ocean Drake is up in 20 seconds.
Yep.
So a fight has to happen. You can't just be sitting, waiting to see if they start the Artican. Teleport coming in as well by Flandre. AL want this fight.
Yes, they do. But AL, again, smothering the vision. They see so much and CFO see so little. The clone will be used. CFO fight back as they wrestle their way into the bot side river. Shanks, level 16. Hovering in the tri-brush, has the ulti to create a flank. The dragon started off.
Just going to step forward, immediately jumps onto Shanks. Ooh. The depth coming out as well, but the 6 arm got enough. Kyle, the first of all in the fight, but meanwhile on the back line, Tarzan begins to rip through CFO. Doggo trying to get away as Kaiwing looks for the hook, but can't land it on Shanks or Hope. Meanwhile, Driver falls to Flandre, and now it's all on the bot lane for CFO. Doggo, no killer instinct, no flash, just has the cleanse, and CFO won't take the fight any further. AL secure the soul, win the fight, a 6,500 gold lead as Doggo escapes, but Kaiwing does not. It will be a 4-for-1, a soul for AL, and you have to feel the Artican alongside it.
The ultimate's going to be used to quickly rotate towards the Artican. The bot tower is available for them if they want it as well. We're going to look back at this MasterCard priceless moment, and I love the idea from Ginger. Quickly come in onto Shanks, but the response from Kyle was beautiful. A massive Nico ultimate connects onto multiple members, and it gives easy access for Tarzan onto the backline. He does so much damage on the Wukong. Doggo tries to respond with a dive of his own, but he just can't match the damage. He can't match the threat until he's forced to retreat. CFO forced short in the fight once more, and AL with firm authority here in game 2.
And credit to CFO for looking for a fight like that, trying to find the pick, but you are just so far in the hole at this point. 3 items complete on Shanks, 3 items on its way for Hope, as he's got the pickaxe and the BF sword, and expect to see that Infinity Edge pretty soon. Only 2 items on Doggo, only on 2 items on Honku as well. I mean, if a good equalizer comes off and you can lock someone on it for an absolute age, perhaps it's enough with the Bloodletters Leandries, but if I'm CFO, you're probably thinking more about how you bounce back in this series now rather than how you bounce back in this game.
Yeah, it feels pretty impossible for CFO to turn this game around in particular. Of course, they're still going to fish, they're still going to look.
They are hostos after all.
Okay. You just threw me off.
I'm sorry, man.
Every time. Baron and maybe Elder could be their way back into the game. And speaking of, AL not going to waste any time. Start that objective off. Let's see if CFO can find a miracle fight.
Force a response out of CFO.
Doggo's
Teleport
so
available. The Driver on this Rumble. Doggo a mile away, but always has the killer instinct to jump into a fight. There's a TP out from the Rumble. Hero's entrance available for Flandre as well, as they dive onto Ginger immediately. A 3-man impale, though. It's huge! As Doggo begins to turn the fight around, all on the back of Ginger. The killer instinct forward. Hope is extinguished. CFO! From nothing, find it all! An ace and the Baron as well!
That is the miracle that they needed! A perfect ace onto AL. Junja is the target that AL engage on, but he gets an ulti in response. Everything is thrown into him, and look at that, the three-man suppress means that Doggo, Honkyu, and Driver do so much damage. Hope is left isolated, Flandre can't do anything. And CFO get a 5-for-0 team fight with the Baron secured as well. That is a massive injection of gold.
And off the back of who? Off the back of Junja. This guy has led this league for so many years, has been the most valuable player in the LCP, and he gets the three-man impale to turn it around.
I hope we get the gold graph, because that is a plus 1.2, well, 1K lead now for CFO. What a monstrous gold swing. And these are the situations that we always theorize when we cast Games Medic, but rarely do they ever actualize. CFO with a monstrous punish. Have flipped the game on its head now with this huge injection of gold. They can look to contest the Elder, and with an Elder, they have all the tools they need to win this game.
And there's so much standing gold on the map as well for CFO, because they haven't been able to pick up any of these towers earlier on. Currently only sitting at 2. You can see Driver pushing him for a third down towards this bottom lane. AL still have all the tools that we talked about in their toolkit. They still have the Pop Blossom, the Cyclone, the Realm Warp onto the backline, but they no longer have the massive wallets that allowed them to beat CFO if the fight wasn't entirely in their favor. Now CFO begin to turn things into their advantage. And for AL, first time in this game since 30 seconds in that they have been on the back foot.
That was 8K gold to one. That is a 9K gold swing? 8K? Is that 9K, right? But
Sally probably said the game was over.
Oh, yeah. Right. Classic. I mean, we said the game was over.
Yes, we did. As CFO
pushing in the mid lane as well. AL have committed 5 members on the bot side of the map.
The risk for Honkyu is the Realm Warp, right?
Oh yeah, he's just going to let the minions do the work. He doesn't have to overextend it. CFO going to continue their pressure on the bot sides.
A minute before the Elder. Void Seeker's coming out from Doggo, trying to find his mark. Can't do it for now. That cannon minion will stay standing, though, as another wave in mid will crash in about 10 seconds' time. Wave in bot, about 20 away or so. As Shanks has finally answered mid. Flandre forced a Justice Punch away, has a magic damage shield, so should be fine against that Kai'Sa for now.
Well, here we go, Medic. The Elder, a situation that I was not expecting given the game state, is now a very viable option, a window presented.
Look at the gold difference between Honkyu and Shanks.
Yup.
2.4K ahead from one fight and a few towers.
Am I right?
What a glow up, man. This guy's having an absolutely exceptional MSI. Winning lane against Faker a couple of times in that series.
Okay, he was getting bodied in this game.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, this game was the aberration in the early game, and now he's back to his position, you know?
Now he's back. He is definitely back.
Interesting build as well, the Black Cleaver, Spear, Manamune, and the GA now.
For a lot of core keys so far at this tournament. Gives you a lot of shred, a lot more cooldown reduction, a lot more HP as well. So here we go, Elder going to be spawning. It's CFO this time around with position on the dragon.
It's AL who have to walk in. Reminder, they have that Ocean Soul, though, so they are going to be able to stain up through fights. Elder begun now by CFO. AL walk into the darkness. The Elder getting shredded immediately, down to 6,000 HP. AL might not even get in range. Tarzan's going to have to decoy in. The hero's entrance coming out, but there's the Elder, and Tarzan is already down. Kyle popping a heal just to escape the clutches of CFO, but Shanks does not have that same luxury. Slammed into the wall by Junja. He can stop time for a second, but he's going to be sent to a timeout back to the fountain as Junja takes him down.
Elder secured, 2 kills secured. CFO now set their sights on the base of AL with one of the craziest comebacks that we've seen at MSI. CFO is looking to equalize this series right here, right now.
And for Flandre, Hope, and Kyle, you are reeling from this last sequence. Just got to try and defend your base. It looks like CFO might not go for the full push. Junja's not with them right now, but the rest of the team are posturing forward. Going to take down this inhibitor. Another wave coming in on its way. They're taking their time with it, clearing out the waves coming out of the AL base. Tarzan up in 2 seconds' time. We'll have that Cyclone and a flash. Here's Junja to join up with CFO. Tarzan goes in with the Cyclone immediately onto Doggo, who cleanses the way, but Hope flashes forward and gets the kill. And now the rest of CFO are on the retreat. AL have forced them out of the base for now. A minute 30 still on the Elder. That might be the final push we see from it because a double TP from AL. They want this game to end right now. Shanks on the flank, gets onto Driver, spell flux going out, but he has to be careful because of that Elder buff still remaining on CFO. They'll retreat as 4. Tarzan trying to get in here, Realm Warp up in 6 seconds, Dredge line, depth charge, not enough, no follow-up damage onto Shanks. The Ocean Soul as well, helping them out as Driver goes in with the Flame Spitter, but they just don't have the damage! Phosphorus Bomb finds his mark, a double impale as well. The Taunt Kyle goes in with a Wall Blossom, and they'll get one in response, but now it's all on Hope. It rests on his shoulders. He opens up onto Junja, who flashes away. CFO out with 3 right now. Flandre, Justice Punch forward, Hope dashing in as well. Junja will fall, Hongkyu has the GA, is it enough? Hope trying to heal up with that Ocean Soul. And it's a 1v1 between the mid and the bot. The Gatling gun, Valkyrie forward! Hongkyu finds the double.
What a crazy fight as AL do everything in their power to stop the siege from CFO. But the TP is coming through into mid lane. There's only Tarzan left alive. He needs to get back to base. CFO, they're looking at... No. It is way too ambitious. Instead, they set their sights on the Baron. My goodness. AL into the face of the Elder, chase down CFO. Only now will the Elder wear off, but another Baron is going to be secured for CFO. The gold lead now monstrous. Tarzan trying to get in range, but it will be too little, too late. The second Baron goes to CFO. My goodness, what felt like a one-sided game, a foregone conclusion. 33 minutes in. We are at 31 kills. CFO with a 5.7k gold lead. And they are one fight away from being able to equalize this series.
So, mid lane inhibitor for AL respawns in 2 minutes 40 seconds. Elder Dragon respawns in 2 minutes 40 seconds. The Baron remains on CFO for the next 2.5 minutes, and they'll try and use it to push forward. Shanks is going to Realm Warp out here. Was scared of Junja on the flank alongside Kaiwing. For CFO,
Hongkyu is full build.
Yep.
He went from what I think 1-5 to 9-5.
Yes, yes he did. And you look at Shanks, he's only at 3 items. Hongkyu is just incredibly accelerated in this game. Doggo as well has got a Seeker's Arm Guard and is going up towards a Void Staff on this Kai'Sa, giving them just that little bit more magic damage. For AL, it's last chance saloon, you have to feel. A 6,000 gold hole, a 14,000 gold swing. The largest comeback at MSI this would be if CFO...
It might just be one of the biggest comebacks in international history. Like, what an insane swing. They still have to finish the job, though. Great poke onto Kyle. Tarzan fishing for a flank, but he just gets spotted out. CFO don't have a minion wave left to play with. The culling comes through from Hope already. The Realm Warp about to be available. If Shanks can use it to get Tarzan onto the backline. It's not a quick engage, but it is an option.
With the follow-up from Flandre, could be devastating for CFO. Junja, though, with these impales, has been absolutely on the mark. They step forward, Kaiwin hooks, but only onto the wall. Death charge, Pop Blossom, Hero's entrance! And once again, it's the wombo combo, Kaiwin already down. Doggo Honkyu have to retreat as Junja's locked up as well. Driver's dead, the Realm Warp forward as AL look for more. Kyle on the flank, the Tangle Barbs onto Junja. Won't get the route, just short. Still a minute before the Elder. TP available for Shanks if they did have a ward, but they don't have the vision. They don't have that flank opportunity.
I mean, that's the scary thing. CFO have demonstrated throughout this game that no matter how far behind they are, they will continue to look for fights. Guess what? AL is exactly the same. It doesn't matter what position they're in, they will continue to look for a fight. And they found another fantastic angle. Kaiwin went a little too deep. He throws the hook, it doesn't quite connect. It drags him into the midst of the AL squad though, and then Driver was there to follow up. Now they engage a little too far, AL can quickly respond, and so they keep their base alive. The Baron is gonna wear off. Not much gold gained off the back of it, and the later and later we go, this gold difference really doesn't mean much. There's a few more items that AL is trying desperately to complete. And once they have it, it's all going to come down to team fight execution. And we've seen these team fights can go either way.
CFO trying to get control over the river with Elder up in 1 second time. Mid lane inhib has respawned, so it's only normal cannon minions meeting in that mid lane. Tarzan so constantly looking for the flanks here. Has that Hero's entrance to back him up and has the flash. No flash at the moment on Driver, but it's about to come off cooldown. I think Honkyu's is on cooldown as well right now. So there's always the risk. If you can catch out Honkyu, his Guardian Angel, still a few seconds before that comes back up as well. The waves really don't matter right now. There's one pushed in towards CFO's base as Junja rooted up, but you can see damage doesn't really stick on him. Does on Shanks though, as he's taken down by a third. The Shape Splitter used to get a little bit of vision in here.
Health slowly being regenerated for Shanks. Junja with good position in the river. You can feel the tension between these two teams. Elder going to be started off this time around. CFO not playing with the same speed that they were when they last had the Baron. They've got to be cautious about the angles with which AL try to attack from. They've set their sights on the Flandre.
They land the dredge line, but look at Tarzan across the wall. Goes in with a Cyclone and forces them off his top laner. Kaiwin down to half HP. Tarzan re-engages another Cyclone. The Hero's entrance not going to land. The Realm Warp looking at that backline is going to be onto Kaiwin. Honkyu forced low as Junja takes the brunt of it. The flash is away from CFO. Realm Warp not taken. Equalizes to turn it around, but with Junja at a third HP and the Ocean Soul sitting on AL, it's going to be tricky. You need to heal him back up. There's Krugs and there's Razorbeaks. If he can quickly hit them, he'll regen some of that health. The Elder now the target for AL. No vision in the pit for CFO. The control ward negates the vision that ward would give them, and there's the Elder. AL secure it, CFO immediately back away.
A well-played fight by AL. I thought that after Tarzan had used his ulti to defend Flandre, that was a big engage tool that they had lost. But Shanks using some mind games with the Realm Warp, forcing the Corki to W over the wall to regroup with his team, and then as CFO clumped up, it meant that AL had actually a good opportunity to chase. A really nice culling comes through from Hope, and it puts CFO in a situation where they're forced to retreat. Now the Baron is spawning in 30 seconds. AL, with this Elder buff, can force the fight, and now they're in a much better position to win out on the 5v5.
4 items complete on Hope and the Elder as well. No Void Staff yet for Shanks, but must be pretty close to securing that. CAL just going to force Junja out of this jungle, take away the blue, take away everything they can. It's that suffocation style that AL do so well when they have an advantage in the game. Driver's going to push out that bot side. Doesn't have teleport. For CFO, this is an objective that you just have to give up. Can't fight into Soul Elder, even around the Baron. AL will secure it pretty easily. No real contest coming out from CFO. They just want those waves as far away from their base as possible. We're going to have a crossover of about a minute between the Elder and the Baron buff.
Driver hesitant to push any further on the bot lane. He will go back to base. Now CFO, the main buff they need to be wary of is the Elder. You can see the cooldown bar at the top right of your screen. That means that they'll likely lose an inhibitor. But once the Elder is gone, then CFO can probably look for a fight. The wave clear is going to come through. AL want to keep the pressure up. Shanks going back to base. A numbers advantage for CFO, but again, against this Elder, it's a scary thing to try and force. The TP is available for the Rise.
Honku just trying to harass down this wave from lane, from range, in fact, as AL won't push any further. TP to the mid lane. The Elder going to expire in the next 15 seconds or so. There's the equalizer on the way, but the Baroned up minions don't take too much damage. Doggo trying to clear it out. AL will play for the mid lane in him, and they'll secure it. CFO wisely backing away. No wave here on the top side, but that's how it is down to a third, and AL might just think they can tank it up. They start to do so. Takes a chunk, but it takes a while. Tarzan down to half HP himself, but in the end, AL will secure the inhib tower. Elder about to expire. There it goes. It's off. CFO still backed away and gave up double inhibs.
AL, they're not going to slow down with the pressure, though. They're continuing with the push. Junja, he's incredibly tanky. He's not tanky enough to stop the minions from doing that damage. For now, the Nexus towers stay strong. No objectives on the map, really, so AL have to keep the pressure going.
One of the weaknesses here for AL is that short range that we talked about all the way back in draft. How can Hope get close enough without the rapid fire cannon? Impale going in, there's a Pop Blossom as Kyle finds three. Junja falls low, and he'll fall as we look for the engage on towards the backline from Doggo. Doesn't go in with the killer instinct, holds it for the moment. The depth charge used alongside that equalizer. The wave now pushing in. There's Tarzan, a hero's entrance. The GA on Tarzan's shoulders will bring him back to life. Both the Nexus towers are down as Kyle begins to open up on the Nexus. CFO trying to defend, but they just can't do it in the face of anyone's legend. 2-0 now on match point.
A well-fought defense by CFO. The fact that they found that miracle team fight into the Baron. Pad by Omen and HyperX. What could be the last game of this series. AL moving over to the blue side. CFO looking to try and get counterpick as Rest will jump into the draft.
And the thing with Rest is he's known much more as the carry player for CFO. We did see him earlier in the tournament on an Ornn, but that was more because Driver needed the game off. And so the question is, now with counterpick on the red side, can you get enough of an advantage for Rest to actually be able to gain control of the game? Caitlyn and Leona banned out early here from AL. They've been banning those out in the second rotation the previous games. Pantheon and Vi taken away by CFO, actually matching the bans that Anyone's Legend were doing when they were on the red side.
So what will the priority be this time around? Annie was something that was hovered in the first game and is of course still available. The Nocturne ban, we see this come through later on in series, knowing how effective the champion can be, especially when the jungle pool gets thinned out. Junja has had a Nocturne performance so far in this tournament, and they are respecting his proficiency on the champ. Now on the side of CFO, what are they afraid of? The Varus is the big one for me that stands out. Both Varus and Ezreal are available right now, and Hope, if he can get his hands on it, I'm sure he'd love to grab it, and there's going to be the ban. This means that Ezreal might be an early priority, but Aurora as well. Another champion that both mid laners really love to play. We've seen it first picked in the draft as well, and I guess like Annie would be the immediate response if it does come through. I guess it depends on your preference. Oh, of course. Okay, so an early support, priority.
Yeah, so the thing is, Alistar's gone, Nautilus is gone, Leona's gone, Nico's gone. What other engaged supports are we really looking at? Rakan is the only one that really springs to mind, but Rakan is, you can deal with it in quite a lot of different ways.
There's also Kalista Renata.
True.
There's Braum as a possibility as well.
Are we talking about Kalista Renata as good picks at MSI, or?
I'm just saying.
Neither of them have won a game.
Again, we've gone through it. They are a set of picks that historically have been used into RAL. Okay? I'm just throwing out the option.
Well, Trundle will be the pick for CFO on this first rotation.
Maybe they're worried about a blind Scion as well.
Yeah, the thing is, AL don't have to ban the Scion away from Driver because Rest is playing, which allows the Scion up for them. And CFO unlikely to pick the Scion themselves, because if you were going to draft Scion, you'd just play Driver, right? So it's Ezreal Trundle. as their 2 picks. Obviously, Trundle very good into the Scion, which pushes Flandre into a slightly different position when it comes to picks.
I was gonna question, do they need something like the Zion now, or do they instead just go for a jungle pick? Tarzan's Lee Sin, an old one, but it's a good one.
There's Lee Sin, Twisted Fate, if you want to play
yeah, the Twisted
quite
Fate.
aggressive.
Honestly, I'm glad Twisted Fate has been lower on the priority list. I do not think that champion is being played around very well, and AL going to forego the pick. The Annie will be locked in. Just a very well-rounded mid lane champion right now. She provides good CC, she has solid laning phase, and also just in the mid game she spikes so hard with her ability to flash engage. Doggo going to be ready with his trigger figure on the cleanse.
Assuming he takes cleanse, obviously has the arcane shift as well if he wants to play a little bit further back and just look for the poke. Braum is the lock here for CFO. Once again, good disengage, especially into the Rel who wants to jump in as soon as she's in the middle of you. If you haven't been caught up, if you arcane shifted away, then the concussive blows come out. The Braum can really slow her from ever getting away, because when you crash down as well, you're reducing your movement speed, which makes it quite hard for the Rel in that 2v2.
Moving on to the second phase of bans now. We expect mid laner bans to come through from AL. AD carry is going to be the focus from CFO. Sivir going to be the first to take it off the board. I wonder if that Zaya that we mentioned earlier will be next to hit the ban list. Kai'Sa already taken away, the Lucian, MF, Jhin. With the Varus also banned away. That pool slowly starts to get pinched with the Caitlyn taken away as well. I wonder if we'll see something new from Hope, or whether he will just stick to the Zaya. The Victor going to be taken away, known as a very safe control mage pick into the Annie.
Yeah, you just have enough range, really, with the Chaos Ray to farm up the minions. Don't have to worry too much. You've got the Siphon power as well for the movement speed in the lane and the shield. It can be quite hard for the Annie to really harass you too easily in the early game.
I think Orianna has some decent value for CFO. Could be another possible ban for AL.
Where will CFO go with their final ban?
Yeah.
It is the Senna, so that means the Zaya is available for anyone's Legend and for Hope if he wants to pick it up. With the Rel already locked in, obviously you're not going to get that Zaya-Rakan combo, but you're looking at keeping your top lane pick for last if you're CFO. Trundle can go top, but the expectation is that that will be in the jungle. As AL look towards their final ban. Anything that you're worried about Rest bringing out? Well, the Jace will be the ban.
Hover on the Blitzcrank makes no sense. Just a hover on Blitzcrank. Yeah, I mean, when we get deeper into the draft, I thought early on about Cassante. It's something that Rest... It's one of his preferred champions, for sure. Something that is very well known for.
I think it's his most played across his career. It's very comfortable on this champ overall. But instead, the Hui does make more sense. Give your top lane a counter pick. That's why you brought him in for this series-defining game. You brought him in to be a bit of a wild card, to do something a little bit inventive. There's the Orianna. Good prediction on that, Betty. As now we see Flandre having to blind his top laner.
Ooh. Hope hovering through a few options. None of the ones that we talked about earlier. It depends what they're very much feeling. Jinx, I mean, doesn't have a lot of protection in a composition like this, but against an Ezreal, you should feel pretty safe to free farm.
There we go.
Going back to the Zaya that we kind of expected to come through. I think it's nice into the Trundle pillar specifically. They're gonna go for a blind Gwen for Flandre.
Flandre does love his Gwen.
I think, like, Jax could just be a safe topside pick if they want something that has side lane threat, also decent team fighting. They're gonna go for the Gwen. Of course, now Rest could pick up the Jax for himself. I don't know if, even though he's super comfortable on the Cassante, I don't know if I love it into Gwen. I feel like that you're kind of giving the Gwen a bit of a free lane. I mean, I guess you could argue that you just fully itemize on the magic resistance, but at the same time, I feel like that you never really have any kill threat on the Gwen.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of leaving her to her own devices.
How do you feel about it compositionally if it is locked in? It is actually going to be the Gnar in the end. Look for that range advantage over the Gwen in the early game, get a lot of grasps, procs off, but
So
Gwen obviously later on can just take over side lanes.
Yeah, it's much more of a lane bully in favor of the Gnar, but I think it reaches a point where the Gwen really starts to win out on the matchup. In terms of team fight value, Gnar synergizes very nicely with CFO's comp. They've got like the possibility of a wombo combo, but they're very reliant on Rest to kind of act as an engage, which I think is just a very difficult thing to do. AL's composition is a lot more well-rounded in that they have solid lanes, they have solid skirmishing just because they have Elise and Annie. They scale well because they have the insurance of Gwen playing through the side lane. It's also just like, what's the threat onto Xayah, really? If the Trundle's kind of running at you, Xayah loves that. Yeah. And while the Brawn can, of course, be obnoxious for the feathers, it's a situation that I think is difficult for the Trundle to deal with. So, again, I do kind of favor AL's composition. I just feel like they have a lot of tools. And I think that in the early game, they have been the team that's consistently found these advantages. So, looking at this Annie Lee Sin, I would be very afraid going into that, especially in the hands of Tarzan.
Oh, 100%. Tarzan on his fabled Lee Sin. Hasn't brought it out yet at MSI, but something that he's been known for across the years of his career. And with the series he's having so far as well, giving him something that can have playmaking potential just really facilitates anyone's legend through this early game. Okay, we're just all running into the same bush, are we? Kaiwing's there. Could be stunned up by Shanks with that disintegrate, but Kaiwing...
Round 2.
Well, he wisely walks away from them this time, Bedius. Kyle can always just jump across the wall here, as we're going to actually head over to a quick interview as Shox is standing by with Kadra.
I sure am. Hello, Mark. How's it going?
It's going great. This is amazing. Being in the venue, the crowd's really loud. It's really fun to see these games.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, we got a level 1 fight. There's a flash forward from the Annie. A big stun with the W is going to land onto Hongkyu. Kaiwi's going to try and get away with the flash, and there's the flash from Junji as well.
Let's go. He still got it, guys. Hey, what's your thought on I mean, they chose red side finally. CFO, do you think they used it to their advantage?
I mean, they got Orianna into Annie, which is a good lane. They counterpicked the Gwen, but I don't think the Gnar is that big of a counter. I think the Orianna is going to need a lot of help this game. I think it's all going to be about mid.
What does your gut tell you?
I think AL's comp is going to be a 3-0.
Thank you. Enjoy streaming over here.
A 3-0 for AL's comp, says Kadral, and the crowd here not too excited by that possibility. They did boo him. We saw a bunch of flashes burnt in the early game. Great job from Kadral for narrating that for us. Junja no longer has a flash, nor does Hongkyu. Kaiwing has neither of his summoners down towards this bottom lane. As Shanks burnt his flash, Ghost was used by Flandre. Less summoners overall coming out from AL.
Oh, that's a lot of damage on the Kyle. He's got to be careful here. Doggo with pinpoint accuracy on that Ezreal.
I think the thing is, if you're Kyle, Doggo had to use his one and only health pot, and you have 2.
True.
So you're kind of okay with that trade, especially if you can get towards the level 2 first.
Very, very good point, Medic. While AL get the push in the bot side of the map, Shanks, wow, he's bullying out Hongkyu in this early matchup. Normally the Orianna has the advantage early on because the Annie's, well, the Q, when you use it on your opponent, increases the cooldown. You don't get that cooldown reduction compared to when you're hitting or last hitting those minions. And normally you have that slight range advantage, so you can just kind of bully out the Annie every time she tries to walk at you. You can slow her down, but Shanks finding some good angles of attack, getting the push in this matchup. And right now, AL just kind of have 3 pushing lanes. The Lee Sin is going to be pathing towards the top side of the map, I imagine, to assist with Flandre, making sure that he gets that push underneath the tower. And getting it under the tower is important, because you don't want the Gnar to potentially set up that freeze and make things very difficult. Meanwhile, we do have to give congratulations to Kaiwing, his 100th international game.
Which, when you consider Kyle going in here, Shadowing Strike going down as well, but when you consider the fact that Kaiwing and the teams he's been on don't often make it too far in the tournament, just shows his consistency as well. Getting over that 100 mark. He would like to make it 102 by the end of the day.
Oh, he certainly would.
But AL have other plans, it seems, as Junja finishes his clear, so does Tarzan. Both of them going to get their respective scuttle crabs.
Speaking of the junglers, Tarzan, it's kind of been a massive impact when it comes to the early game performances of AL. Of course, when we think back to last game, a lot of early ganks were happening, but you kind of look at the advantages that he's been able to build for himself throughout this series has been monstrous, and that K+A at 14, averaging 3 throughout this series. And you think about in the last game how many solo kills that were coming through as well.
Good pillar here, but Kyle holds on to the crash down, so was able to jump over it afterwards. Junja was looking for a gank down towards this bottom side, but unable to find anything. Currently just shadowing his bot lane, yet to recall, whereas Tarzan has and is already back out on the map doing his razor beaks and pathing down towards bot.
And this is part of the thing that he does. His pathing is always very smart and calculated. He's always about maximizing and efficiency when it comes to that jungle clear. Getting the reclear on the Raptors already means that he is a camp ahead of his jungle counterpart, covering the bot side of the map. I don't know if he needs to force something. I think he can just go get the Krugs and look for a base. That's what he's pinging towards right now. Just as the Krugs have started on the opposite side, so small gold lead already built up for AL. Nothing too significant for the time being, but this bot wave in a very comfortable spot for Hope and Kyle.
Yeah, they'll be very happy just holding it here for as long as possible. Obviously, Ezreal can eventually push it in with those Mystic shots. Tarzan is still covering here, as Kyle might look for the mount-up flip onto Kaiwing. Doesn't find it, and there's the back coming out from Tarzan. He'll path back out towards his top side and start clearing through his jungle once again. It feels so slow without 4 kills at level 1 there.
Really? Does it?
We're 5 minutes in and no one has a 1,000 gold lead.
Still keeping my eyes on these junglers, though. I feel like we talked about it in draft. We've heard Kadril comment on it as well. This mid lane matchup's going to be super important. This is more of what we expect in the matchup. Honkyu utilizing his range to chip away at Shanks' HP. After the back, he's feeling a lot more confident in that matchup now. The wave state's in a really good position for him. He can just keep doing exactly what you're seeing. Slowly but surely chip away at that HP bar. Now he's got level 6. He's kill range, but the level 6 is going to be ticked over by Shanks, popping the E as well for that extra bit of shielding. And the mana is a little too low, I think, for Honkyu to actually threaten a kill.
Both of them are going to have their flashes coming back up at the same time as Kaiwing tries to hold the wave here underneath the tower. Won't be able to do so. And AL wisely back away, not really forcing for that plate. Want to get their recall off to match the fact that Doggo's got back and got himself a tier and the double longswords. With a 200 gold lead, we'll see if Hope can get a slight advantage in that lane as Tarzan shadows mid lane. I mean, if Shanks flashes in and lands that Tibbers with the stun up, there's the shockwave. Honkyu flashes away well.
That shockwave was perfect timing.
Really well done.
My goodness. I feel like he had to have been anticipating something. The way that Shanks was playing the lane there, it was definitely very suspicious from Honkyu's perspective.
Junja was also in the river, so perhaps they'd seen Tarzan pathing around that point, or Junja just expected Tarzan to be nearby. Really well done by Honkyu to avoid the pressure from that mid lane, but it does mean both their flashes are down once again, and a Trundle gank onto an Annie or a Lee Sin gank onto an Orianna.
Flandres here.
And Kyle has a flank position. Junja still on that dragon. Tarzan looking for the steal. Flandre is going to